All right, well, mic check. I invested in a mic because some people were saying my audio wasn't coming through very clear due to wind or motor noise or whatever. But anyway, trying to address that going forward. 2026 RZR XPS. So I've taken the RZR out a few times now. I'm just going to give you my overall thoughts on this machine. And this is weird. I don't know how this happened. Someone from Polaris corporate contacted me, and it wasn't because of my YouTube. It's not like my channel's huge or anything. So it wasn't, even though I was doing some of the earliest XPS content out there, because I was one of the first people to get one. But I don't, probably for that reason, for whatever reason, they contacted me and they wanted my feedback about what I thought about the machine. So that was interesting, and it was also interesting to get a little bit of information from them about what the thoughts were and kind of what they were thinking. So I'll be throwing some of that in here through my review. So a lot of people are comparing this machine because they're not very far apart in price from the RZR Pro S, and then being the turbo option, and then the XPS being the normally aspirated option. So I will say, just for upfront, people who don't know, and I didn't even know this when I bought it, but this machine is the spiritual successor to the RZR Turbo S. As far as I know, it was the only 72-inch model they had. It was extremely popular. Turbo S was their rock crawling machine. So I was told directly from someone from Polaris Corporate that this machine is designed specifically for that, which is why it has so much belly clearance, suspension, the whole nine. There was an uproar, I guess, when the Turbo S went away, and they thought the Turbo R would sort of fill that gap, but Turbo R is a lot bigger, heavier machine, so it left sort of a gap in their lineup. So enter the XPS. So for me, this journey started I was going to buy a RZR XP, and when I really went to look the machine over, I did not like how anemic the suspension was. Like all the tube diameters, everything was just super tiny. And the main reason I bought Turbo R was because suspension, shocks, everything super beefy. So I ended up passing on the RZR 1000 XP, and that's when I ended up with a Talon. Fast forward 2 years, and they released the XPS. Now I didn't know this is the Turbo S's successor or whatever, but basically that's what it is. So to me, this thing came out and I'm like, okay, well, it's the RZR XP, but like, look at the suspension on the thing. It's got huge beefy suspension. Their tech videos, the drive shafts, the front diff, which was a weak point on the Turbo S, are all beefed up on this machine. So this was like literally like this was the inoculation for what I didn't like about the RZR XP. This thing answered all of those questions. So I kind of wanted to go away from turbo motor. Turbos are great, they're fun, it's power, but I think you lose a little bit of longevity and reliability with a turbo, and there's just more stuff to go wrong. A normally aspirated machine, there's just less going on. You should get more reliability out of it. So I'm basically hauling myself in this thing, so I don't need 200 horsepower. This thing's going to do what I need it to do. So that was the main reason, and I loved all the clearance and everything. It just answered all the questions, all the problems I had with the RZR XP, and yeah, this basically is exactly what I was looking for. So yeah, what I also like about this is chassis wise, all of the RZR XP stuff that's been out since 2024 fits. So like this skid plate, RZR XP skid plate, windshields, all RZR XP, light bars, everything RZR XP fits on the XPS perfectly. What doesn't fit is the suspension stuff, but we are finding that Turbo S suspension stuff fits. So, and I don't know, for some of you don't know, as soon as I bought this, I started a RZR XPS owners group on Facebook, and it just blew up. So all the owners are on there. If you have questions about the RZR XPS, head out to Facebook, RZR XPS owners. plenty of knowledgeable people out there. You can find me out there, as well as lots of other folks who have these, and get all your questions answered. So through that group, we verified that tie rods, like aftermarket upgraded Turbo S tie rods, fit on this. These are actually Turbo S trail armor A-arm guards. All that stuff fits right off the Turbo S. So driveline wise, this thing is basically very similar to Pro S. It's got the 5 lug hubs like the Pro S. It has beefier half shafts, beefier drive shafts. All that stuff's bigger, heavier clutch. So you'll notice this has got 35s on it. This thing stock will turn over 35s, no problem. In high gear, you might get a shudder or whatever, but as long as you don't, feather the throttle too much, it does just fine. I've had this out on 35s now a few times, and it rides great. Other than that, I just think it's a really good looking machine. I really love the lines and what they did with the 24 XP, what they did with the taillights. It really harkens back to the original RZR XPs. I mean, it looks different, but like the DNA is there, which I really like. If you look at radius rods and stuff like that, that stuff's all big diameter. I guarantee those are probably exactly as big as they are on my Turbo R. So stock, this thing is it's going to be a pretty tough machine right out of the box. They also geared everything down for 2026, including the RZR XP. So on 32s, this is really the only thing I don't like about this machine. On 32s, this thing feels really, really, really too low geared on the trails, because everyone else, if you're running older machines or whatever, even KRXs, which are notoriously low geared, were just walking away and leaving me when I was in low gear. So there's that. That's pretty much alleviated by going to 35s. Everything's much more tolerable on 35s. It rolls out much faster. A lot easier to cruise on 35s. The only other negative thing, and I voiced this to Polaris, is this seems to run a lot hotter. Like, I've had Polaris Ranger, I've had my Polaris Turbo R, a couple different Polarises I've owned before this. They all run cooler. This thing's up in the 200 degree range pretty readily, like not even running hard, just cruising. I was told by Polaris that that's pretty normal for the RZR XP, and since I hadn't driven one before, I had no way to dispute that, so I'm guessing everything's okay. I think that probably has a lot to do with the short snout. This thing is meant to have a lot of visibility out of the windshield to see approach angles and stuff a lot better. Like, it's just, the nose is super short. I bet the nose on my Turbo R is out to here, so probably a lot more room for radiator, air to get through there and stuff like that. This is all packed in there pretty tight. So that's my theory as to why these things run a little hotter. Other than that, it's pretty much a RZR. It drives nice, a lot of fun. Out of the box, I thought the suspension was pretty stiff, and then after putting a few hours on it of going over some rough terrain and stuff, the springs all kind of wore in, so it rides really cushy now. What else is there to say? I don't know. I think this machine is great bang for the buck. Like, it's ready to go out of the box if you don't want to have to do clutching and all that stuff. Like, spending a couple grand more than this costs over a regular XP is well worth it, in my opinion. Oh, I didn't talk about this, and this is important. I did this Talon review, and I was talking about how twitchy and snatchy the throttle is and how disappointing and how tiring that can be. If Honda doesn't do this, they're crazy. But Polaris added the different drive modes on this one. This rock mode, like, it really smooths out throttle delivery. This is a big deal, and it's one that a lot of people don't talk about. And I think this might be one of the best features of the RZR XPS. That is a feature that I really, really like, and I really feel like this is lacking on a lot of other machines, especially you, Honda, because holy crap. I do recommend this. Really, the only thing I don't like about the Ultimate is it came with regular seat belts. I think Ultimate and some of the other trims are all harnesses, so that was one thing I felt like I had to add, that I felt like it should have been included with with it. I gave that feedback to Polaris as well. I think in the sport model or even the XPs, the seat belts are fine. But I think on this machine, like they said, it's designed to be a rock crawler. I think harnesses should have been stock. That's it for now. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.